You are standing outside in your backyard, enjoying your morning coffee, wearing your favorite pair of mismatched socks, and thinking about how utterly mediocre your life is. The sun is shining, birds are chirping, and your biggest problem today was deciding whether to wear pants with an elastic waistband or pants with a slightly looser elastic waistband. But up in space, roughly 70 miles above your completely unyielding skull, a chunk of cosmic space debris the size of a microwave is hurtling toward Earth at 40,000 miles per hour. It does not care about your morning coffee. It does not care about your student loans. It is on a direct, mathematically perfected collision course with your forehead. Now, before you start frantically looking up at the sky every time you step outside to take out the trash, let us look at the actual odds of this happening. The mathematical probability of an individual human being struck by a meteorite is roughly 1 in 830,000. To put that into perspective, you are far more likely to get struck by lightning, bit by a shark while swimming in a shallow pool, or accidentally elected as the mayor of a small town because nobody else signed up on the ballot. Yet, despite these absurd odds, it has actually happened. Back in 1954, a woman named Ann Hodges was fast asleep on her living room couch in Alabama, minding her own business and dreaming about whatever people dreamt about in the 1950s. Suddenly, a 4-pound black space rock smashed straight through her wooden ceiling, bounced off her heavy metal radio console, and slammed right into her hip, leaving a massive dark purple bruise the size of a pineapple. She became the first recorded human in history to survive being hit directly by an extraterrestrial object. But let us imagine that you are not as lucky as Anne. Let us imagine that you are standing outside, and instead of a tiny pebble, you are targeted by a proper, high-velocity space rock. What actually happens to the human body in that exact microsecond of impact? Well, first of all, you would not even hear it coming. A meteorite traveling at hypersonic speeds moves far faster than the speed of sound. There is no dramatic, cinematic whistle. There is no slow-motion falling object with a bright orange flame trail, giving you enough time to turn around, raise your hands, and scream dramatically for the camera. By the time the atmospheric sonic boom reaches the ears of your terrified neighbors, you are already part of the local scenery. If a rock traveling at 20 miles per second hits you, the kinetic energy transfer is catastrophic. The impact does not just break bones or leave a nasty mark. It converts kinetic energy into explosive thermal heat instantaneously. In simple terms, your body does not just get pushed over. You essentially experience a tiny localized dynamite explosion right on your torso. If the rock is big enough, say the size of a bowling ball, there will not be enough of you left to fill a sandwich bag. You will instantly be vaporized into a fine red mist, while leaving a surprisingly deep crater in your freshly mowed lawn. Your neighbors will come outside, look at the smoking hole in the ground, look at your half-eaten donut sitting on the patio table, and realize that you have officially left the server. But let us assume for a second that the universe has a bizarre sense of humor, and you somehow survive. Maybe it was a tiny meteorite, the size of a marble, moving just slow enough after atmospheric friction slowed it down to terminal velocity. It smashes into your shoulder, knocks you onto the grass, breaks 3 of your ribs, burns a hole through your favorite shirt, and leaves you groaning in agony while a smoking hot black rock rests right next to your foot. Congratulations! You are now a living medical miracle, a global news sensation, and the proud owner of a piece of outer space that is older than planet Earth itself. But do not celebrate just yet, because surviving the space rock was actually the easy part. The real nightmare starts the moment you try to figure out what to do with the rock. Within 20 minutes of the impact, your quiet suburban neighborhood is going to turn into a chaotic circus full of opportunistic vultures. The first person to arrive on the scene will not be an ambulance. It will be your local news crew looking for a clickbait headline. Then comes the local police, who have absolutely zero training on how to handle an interstellar battery case. And right behind them will be a guy in a cheap leather jacket holding a briefcase full of cash, claiming to be a certified meteorite collector. This brings us to the most important question of your new, bruised life. Who actually owns the rock that just tried to assassinate you? You might think that because the space rock smashed into your body, on your property, while you were standing in your yard, it automatically belongs to you. Well, welcome to the bureaucratic nightmare of space law. In most countries, including the United States, if a meteorite falls on your private land, it is legally considered property of the landowner. If you own your house, congratulations, you just hit the cosmic lottery. But if you are renting that house, your landlord is going to show up 5 minutes later with a giant, evil smile, claiming that the rock belongs to him, while simultaneously demanding that you pay for the hole in his roof. That exact legal disaster actually happened to poor Anne Hodges back in 1954. After she was struck, her landlord immediately tried to sue her for ownership of the meteorite, arguing that it landed on his building. Then the United States Air Force showed up, confiscated the rock, claiming it was potential alien military tech, and refused to give it back for months. By the time legal battles ended and Anne finally got the rock back, the public hype had completely died down. Nobody wanted to buy it anymore, and she eventually ended up using it as a very expensive doorstop before donating it to a local museum. So, if a space rock hits you tomorrow, rule number 1, pick it up, hide it under your shirt, and do not tell your landlord until you speak to a lawyer. Now, why would anyone care so much about a dirty, burnt piece of space gravel? Because meteorites are not just rocks. They are literally time capsules from the birth of our solar system 4.6 billion years ago. And depending on what your prospective assassin is made of, it could be worth more than a fleet of luxury sports cars. Most meteorites that fall to Earth are stony meteorites, made mostly of silicate minerals. They are cool, but relatively common, selling for anywhere between $2 to $20 per gram. However, if your rock happens to be an iron meteorite, made of dense nickel and iron from the core of an ancient shattered planet, the price goes up. But the absolute holy grail of cosmic debris is a lunar or Martian meteorite. These are chunks of the Moon or Mars that were blasted into space by giant asteroid impacts millions of years ago, floated through the void, and eventually landed right on your head. A verified piece of the Moon can easily sell for over $1,000 per gram. That means a rock the size of a baseball could easily net you anywhere from $50,000 to over $1 million on the private collector market. Suddenly, those broken ribs and that giant purple bruise on your hip do not feel so bad, do they? You are laying in your hospital bed, covered in bandages, looking at a check for $500,000. Thinking to yourself that getting hit by a flying space brick was actually the best career decision you have ever made. But hold your horses, Lucky, because before you start picking out color options for your new yacht, you have to deal with the scientific community. The moment news leaks out that a human was hit by a rare extraterrestrial specimen, every geologist, astronomer, and university professor within a 500-mile radius is going to descend upon your hospital room like a flock of hungry seagulls over a dropped ice cream cone. They do not care about your health. They do not care about your pain. They want to cut your multi-million-dollar space rock into tiny little slices, using diamond-tipped saws so they can analyze its isotopic composition under an electron microscope. They will guilt-trip you. They will stand at the foot of your bed and say stuff like, "Sir, this rock contains ancient amino acids that could unlock the secrets of how life began in the universe. It belongs in a university vault for human knowledge." Selling it to a shady billionaire collector in Dubai is an insult to science. And now you are stuck in a massive moral dilemma. Do you donate your miraculous space rock to science for free, receiving nothing more than a shiny certificate of appreciation and a free museum tote bag? Or do you ignore the crying professors, sell the cosmic missile to a wealthy private buyer, pay off your mortgage, buy a gold-plated jet ski, and hire a full-time bodyguard to carry a giant titanium umbrella over your head for the rest of your life. Most people would like to think they would choose science. But let us be completely honest with ourselves. When you are staring at $500,000 in crisp banknotes, suddenly ancient amino acids do not sound nearly as important as paying off your student loans. But what if the rock that hit you was not just a piece of dead planet? What if it carried something far more sinister inside its burnt crust? Space is not just full of silent rocks and frozen dust. It is a giant, deep freezer, preserving materials for billions of years at temperatures near absolute zero. Scientists have already discovered that carbonaceous chondrites, a rare type of meteorite, contain complex organic molecules, water, and over 80 different types of amino acids, many of which do not even exist naturally on Earth. Now, imagine that space rock that just smashed into your shoulder was acting as a cosmic transport pod for ancient, frozen alien microbes. Extreme extremophiles that survived millions of years of vacuum radiation, atmospheric re-entry temperatures of 3,000 degrees, and a collision with your body. The moment that rock cracked open on your lawn, those microscopic space hitchhikers woke up. They took one breath of Earth's oxygen, smelled your sweat, and decided your bloodstream looked like a luxury 5-star resort. While you are laying in your hospital bed, feeling like a millionaire and counting your imaginary money, your body temperature suddenly starts spiking to 105 degrees. Your eyes start glowing a faint fluorescent green. You start craving raw meat and communicating with your nurse through high-frequency static noises inside her mind. The doctors have no idea what is happening. They run blood tests, only to discover that your red blood cells have been replaced by glowing alien microorganisms that are rapidly rewriting your genetic code. Congratulations! You are no longer just a guy who got hit by a meteorite. You are officially patient zero of an extraterrestrial pandemic. Within 48 hours, the World Health Organization locks down your hospital. Guys in heavy hazard suits roll you into a sealed titanium containment pod, put you on a military cargo plane, and ship you directly to Area 51. Your multi-million-dollar space rock is confiscated, your bank accounts are frozen, and your internet history is permanently erased. You spend the rest of your natural life in a sterile subterranean chamber, being fed liquid nutrient paste through a tube, while government scientists run daily experiments on your newly mutated alien skin. So, let us recap what we have learned today. If you are ever standing outside enjoying your morning coffee and you suddenly hear a hypersonic sonic boom, do not try to catch the falling star. Do not call your insurance company. And for the love of everything holy, do not post a picture of it on social media. Just duck, cover your head, and pray that the space rock misses you by at least a few feet. Because whether it vaporizes you into a cloud of red mist, ruins your life with legal battles, or turns you into a mutated, glowing space zombie in a secret military facility, getting struck by a meteorite is definitely not as cool as the movies make it look. Sometimes staying completely mediocre, wearing pants with loose, elastic waistbands, and watching other people get hit by space debris on the internet is actually the best outcome you could ever ask for.